The spinal cord, okay, starts right there at the bottom of your brain and it goes down more or less down here to the lumbar area. The end of your spinal cord is going to be called the conus medullaris, as you can see right here. Now, from the spinal cord, you're going to see a lot of nerves come out like this. Since these nerves come out of the spinal cord, then they're going to be called spinal nerves. The nerves that we're going to have right here at the bottom in the lumbar area, they're going to come down here. For example, they're going to help us move our legs. So right here, we're going to have sacral nerves and lumbar nerves. And you can see these nerves right here. You can clearly see the nerves in there, how they actually go down. All these nerves right there, they are going to form the cauda equina. Surrounding the spinal cord, you're going to have the vertebrae, and the spinal cord is going to be inside the vertebral frame, and therefore these vertebrae are going to provide protection to the spinal cord. In addition to that, spinal cord is going to be covered with membranes. These membranes are going to be called meninges, and the meninges are going to wrap around the spinal cord like this, okay, providing protection to the spinal cord. These meninges are going to be 3 of them. They're going to be dura mater, pia mater, and arachnoid mater. At the end of the spinal cord, which is the conus medullaris, these meninges, they're going to start wrapping around right like this, and they're going to attach to the sacrum. That is going to be called the filum terminal. This is going to help the spinal cord attach to the bottom, therefore keeping the spinal cord in place. In addition to that, we have also in here in the spinal cord fluid that is going to be around the spinal cord, also providing some sort of cushion or buoyancy to the spinal cord so the spinal cord does not get damaged. If we cut the spinal cord this way, then what we're going to see is this view. The vertebrae, and holding the bone right there, that's going to be the vertebral foramen, right? And inside the vertebral foramen, that's where we have the spinal cord. We scroll down. You can clearly see in here the meninges, dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. Spinal cord is going to have basically 3 areas. They're putting here that this is posterior. So then this one is going to be the back, and this is going to be the front. So then in there, you're going to have that in the spinal cord, 2 main areas. This one that appears to be like a butterfly, that's going to be the gray matter. Okay, and surrounding all this, that's going to be the white matter. The gray matter and the white matter are going to have 3 main areas. Right? So then posterior, anterior, and middle right there. So therefore, in the gray matter, this one right there, the gray matter, what you're going to have is going to be horns. So this one is going to be the posterior horn, medial or lateral horn, and this is anterior horn. In the case of the white matter, you're going to have that same 3 things, but they're going to be called columns. So this one is going to be called posterior column, medial column, and anterior column. Communicating both of these gray matter areas, you're going to have this part right there in the middle that is going to be called the commissure. In the commissure, you're going to have a little hole right there. I'm going to put a dot in there so you can see it. That is going to be the central canal. This central canal is going to be used for the cerebrospinal fluid to go down into the spinal cord. In front of the central canal, you're going to have this groove right here, which is going to be called the anterior median fissure. And you're going to have another groove behind the central canal, this one right here. This is going to be called the posterior median sulcus. And that's, you have the name right here. And again, you can see the nerves coming out of the spinal cord right there. Now, what is a nerve? It's good, most of the time, the nerve is going to be composed of a whole bunch of axons from neurons that we have. So therefore, the nerves can be classified in nerves that are going to carry information related to sensations that you have. And you're going to have other nerves that are going to carry information related to movements that you need to perform. So therefore, if this is posterior, then you're going to see an enlargement right here. All the nerves that go through this enlargement, those are going to be sensory. And all the other ones that are going to be in the front, they are going to be motor. Sensory information, like for example, pain, and they will come this way, and they will go right here to the back, where that ganglion is. However, if you want to move something, then your brain will send information to the front right here, so you can actually move. So we scroll down right here. So this is what we were talking about. The horns are going to be part of the gray matter, and the columns or funiculars are going to be part of the white matter. If we go right here, we can see the spinal nerves. We said we have nerves coming out of the spinal cord. For example, we need to scratch our hand. So therefore, the brain is going to send information down like this to our arms so we can scratch, I don't know, our legs, for example. Okay, so if you really think about it, then this nerve is going to be located right here inside the spinal cord, right from here to here, that's inside the spinal cord. And then from here to here is outside the spinal cord. When the nerves are inside the spinal cord, they're going to form tracts. When the nerves are outside the spinal cord, they're going to form plexus. The first four nerves at the top, they're going to form the cervical plexus, as you can see right here. The bottom four nerves, this one, this one, this one, and this one, those are the ones that will go right here to your arms, and they're going to form the brachial plexus. The ones in the thorax, they're going to be controlling mainly the organs that we have inside our body, such as our stomach, intestines, spleen, your heart, etc., etc. So therefore, or they are not called plexus, they are just going to be called thoracic nerves. The nerves below, at the level of the lumbar area, these nerves right here, then they're going to form the lumbar plexus. And the nerves that you're going to have below the lumbar area, these ones right here, they're going to form the sacral plexus. The lumbar plexus are going to help us move our legs, but the anterior part of our legs. In other words, the muscle that we have in the anterior part, such as, for example, quadriceps. And the ones on the sacral plexus, they are also going to help us move our legs, but they're going to be for the posterior part of our legs. Right? Like, for example, for the hamstring, if we scroll down right here, we can see cervical plexus. Since a group of nerves form a plexus, then that means that the plexus is always going to have branches. And as you can see here, in the case of the cervical plexus, one important branch is going to be the phrenic nerve. The phrenic nerve is important because this nerve helps us move our diaphragm. Then we have the brachial plexus. The brachial plexus is going to control basically our entire upper extremity, all this. Right here, we have a drawing showing us the branches of the brachial plexus. Right, we're going to have axillary, as you can see here, axillary, radial, ulnar, median, and musculocutaneous. We scroll down right here. We were talking about the branches of the lumbar plexus. We have genitofemoral, femoral arterial, lateral, as well as the obturator nerve. And we also said that the sacral plexus at the very bottom, those are going to help us move the posterior muscles in our legs. Branches of this are going to be superior gluteal, inferior gluteal, pudendal, but we're going to have a very big and important nerve in there, which is going to be the sciatic nerve, which is this one. So the sciatic nerve is going to be a branch of the sacral plexus. Right here, we have the lumbar plexus. Drawing for the lumbar plexus, we say that these plexus are going to go to the front of the legs, as you can see right here. Branches of these plexus, we said that they're going to be genitofemoral, femoral branch, obturator branch, lateral femoral, right? Those are going to be the branches of these plexus. And then if we scroll down right here, we're going to have the sacral plexus, right? So we say in the sacral plexus, one of the most important nerves that we're going to have, as you can see here, the sciatic. And now we're going to continue with the reflexes right here. So remember, we said central nervous system is going to be the brain and the spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord, but this is a reflex. In a reflex, we don't use the brain because we don't think. So therefore, the only area from our central nervous system that is going to work with reflexes, as you can see right here, is going to be the spinal cord. So right here, you have your skin. For example, your skin, you're going to have receptors. Receptors for, let's say, pain. Then the receptor is going to be connected to a nerve. This nerve right there in blue. This nerve is going to be a sensory nerve because it's going to send information about something that you are feeling. Then there's going to be a connection right here at the level of the spinal cord. This is neuron right there, so it's going to be in between this neuron right here and this other neuron. Then this is going to be called the interneuron. This other neuron right here is going to help you move your muscles. Therefore, this is going to be called the motor neuron. And you have in here your muscles that you're going to move in order to create the response. Right? Since we have many, many muscles in our body, we're going to call these effectors. So then how many different areas or how many different pieces we have in a reflex? Well, number one is going to be the receptor. Number two is going to be the sensory nerve. Number three, as you can see in here, is going to be the interneuron, this one right there. Number four is going to be the motor neuron. And number five is going to be the effector. This is called the reflex arc, but the specific receptor for reflexes, that's going to be called the muscle spindle. So right here, you have the name of the receptor right there, muscle spindle. This is the patellar tendon reflex. Parts of the reflex: receptor, sensory neuron, interneuron, motor neuron, an effector. Right? That's what we are the parts, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then there's other things called the characteristics or properties the reflexes have, and that's going to be that they require an stimulus, right? Because if there's no stimulus, then you're not going to get a reflex. That the reflexes are fast, reflexes are involuntary because we don't think about it, and reflexes are a stereotype. What does that mean? That it's always the same way.